Okay, my name is Laura Sue Daniels, and I was born August the 23rd, 1933, about 3 miles southeast of Tyndall. And my dad worked at Co-op Filling Station. He was manager. And Dr. Sheets just lived back of the station. She came home with him, and I was delivered a little after midnight. And then she came back to her home when he came to work the next morning. And that is my beginning. And then, of course, my oldest brother was 24 years older than I. And he was, of course, away from home when I was born. And then Guy was next. Frank was born in 1909 and Guy in 1912 and Lawrence in 1915. And then they got their first girl, Florence Bell, in 1919. And then Leroy in 1925, Noel Fay in 1930, and then me in 33.
Wow. How old was your mother when she had you? Do you know?
44.
44. Wow.
And my dad was 46.
Okay. Yeah. So you might have been a pleasant surprise.
Well, somebody said that to me once, and well, they didn't say it that way. They said an oops baby. And I said I was never treated like one.
Yeah.
I imagine I was pretty spoiled. I don't know that, but
Okay, now age-wise again, the sibling that was closest to you age-wise, how much?
she was 3.5 years older than I was.
Okay, so when you were growing up, how many siblings did you have at home with you?
Well, there were Noel Fay and I, and then Leroy.
Okay.
And then he left and right out of high school shortly. Well, he was 16. And my oldest brother went to East Moline
Okay.
to work for International Harvester. And then eventually Guy went up there. And then Leroy went up there. And then Florence Bell went up there. And then Noel Fay went up there. Everybody
wow.
went up there but me.
Wow.
But Guy worked shucking corn up in Iowa where they shucked it by hand.
Okay.
He had something he put on his hand and then shucked the corn.
Uh-huh.
And then he worked at International. And they both retired from International. Leroy retired from John Deere.
Okay.
And Florence Bell worked for the state hospital up there after her husband died. He died of a heart attack in 67, I believe it was. He was 46. And she had worked before they got married, but after that she never worked, I don't think, until after then. And then Noel Fay, she went up to Moline, but she ended up in Peoria. She married a boy from that area. And of course my brother Lawrence died in 34. he and my mother had typhoid fever, and he died. And Dr. Oliver, my folks always said, saved my mother. He had just started doctoring. He was out of his internship. And Dr. Wright asked my dad if it was all right to bring Dr. Oliver up. And he said yes. And well, he referred to him as EA's son.
Oh, okay.
Dr. EA
Uh-huh.
was Dr. Oliver. So he did, and they always said that he saved Mom's life.
Yeah. Well, so you were only
Year and a half.
year and a half old
Yeah,
when that
I don't
was.
remember Lawrence at all.
Okay. Okay. Do you know if during those years there was a lot of typhoid fever in the area?
Well, I think they thought it was from water.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I've heard it argued both ways, and of
Okay.
course I really don't know.
Yeah. Well,
But
did your mother fully recover, or?
well, from that she did, but she had asthma bad, but she died of pancreatitis.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know whether that, but she was just 63 when she died.
Okay.
I was 18.
Wow. Had you graduated high school?
Yes, I had.
Wow.
Yeah. And I graduated in 51. She died in August of 52.
Okay.
So that was, and then Daddy and I he decided he wanted to sell the farm, which it wasn't a big farm, but then it served our purpose because he was working in town.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we always had cows, and the grandchildren, my nieces and nephews. Old Susie was so tame that they could ride her.
Oh, really? Oh my God! It was a cow, Susie, a
Yeah.
cow. Oh my.
That
Okay.
was a milk cow.
Oh wow.
And they did, I've got pictures of them, most of them, all on there,
Oh wow.
sometime or other.
Well, when you were growing up on the farm, what type of work did you have to do, or did you have to do?
Well, of course, Faye and I always had to wash the dishes. And one night we'd wash, one of us would wash and the other one would dry. And then the next night we'd switch.
Uh-huh.
Well, of course, her being 3.5 years older, she was definitely smarter than I was. And I found out she's putting the pots and pans in the oven.
Oh, and pulling them out the next.
And the next day I'd have to wash more pots and pans.
Uh-huh.
And finally I smarted up a little.
Uh-huh.
And so of course I had tattle on her.
Uh-huh.
And we both got in trouble. Well, of course she was still upset with me. And whoever had to wash the dishes also had to sweep the floor. And I was sweeping the back steps. And she was, as I said, she was still aggravated with me. And she was standing there and wouldn't let me sweep the steps. And I took the broom across her legs and broke the handle out of the broom. Well, we got in trouble again.
Oh boy. Well, did you have to, when you were growing up, did you actually have to do any of the outside labor?
Well, there wasn't that much, except we always had pets. We had goats, because my dad had ulcers, and the doctor suggested goat milk would help.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we had goats, and they were pets.
Okay.
Now I was probably about 6 years old then, 5 or 6. And I'd get in the wagon and say didendo. The G's I couldn't pronounce. I pronounced them as D's.
Hmm.
Didendo. Now don't butt note.
Oh, my.
That goat would jump in behind me. We'd ride down the hill, get down there, and he'd jump out, come back up the hill, and we'd go back down again. We'd do that time and time again.
Well, it just sounds like all of your farm animals were pets.
Yeah, they were. And I had a pet lamb,
Huh.
sheep. It grew up to be a sheep.
Uh-huh.
And Mary Jane, Mary Jo, Mary something. I can't think what I called her now. But we never named that goat. We had more than one goat, but we never named the goats. We just called them goats, I guess.
Well, so when you sold the farm and moved into town, about what date was that?
No, we moved to Tyndall,
Oh, okay.
and that was in 53.
Okay.
And we lived there for 10 years. We moved to Trenton in 63.
Okay.
And we moved into the house that Dr. Bertha Sheets lived in.
Okay, where was that? Or where is that?
Well, it's torn down now. It's just directly behind the old co-op building. It's
Okay.
right over there.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes.
810 Monroe.
Okay.
What the address was.
So really kind of close to 9th Street and
Oh, yeah.
Halliburton.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's within this block.
Uh-huh. So
It's over there.
you stayed close to home.
Yeah.
You moved back into the old neighborhood. Yeah, no, I remember that house before
Yeah,
it was
gray.
Yeah.
I mean, after we moved there, I had it painted gray.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy, that was 63. And he passed away in 64. In
Okay.
April.
Okay.
I was going home at noon checking on him, and he said, "This has got to stop. We got to move to town." So
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, where were you working at that time?
I was working at that time I was working for Tom Layson.
Okay.
My first job was Farmers Mutual Insurance with Lauren Drummond.
Okay.
Lauren was secretary for the company. And so they had never had an office secretary before. And Miss Crawford, Ariane,
Okay.
you remember her?
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
She recommended me, and Lauren came up that's when we were up at the farm, and hired me.
Yeah.
And as I told Julie, that I can remember that big adding machine. I never saw such a big adding machine. Had a row of ones, twos, clear across,
Uh-huh.
and stood up on a stand. And in school, I'd had the 10 key adding machine.
So this was a big step up.
Anyway, I wasn't very busy there. I typed the assessment notices. And of course, used carbon paper, which
Uh-huh.
they don't use anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was no dictaphone, no nothing like that.
Yeah.
And manual typewriter, 75 cents an hour.
Okay, that's what I was curious. 75 cents an hour. Did you work 40 hours a week?
No, I went to work at 9 and got off at 4. It was, what, 30 hours a week,
Okay,
I
okay.
think.
Where was that office located?
Okay, you know where the old Trenton Trust,
Yes.
before it was torn down,
Okay.
in the back of that building was a little office. It was small. And then the alley was next, and then the fire station was next.
Okay. Yeah.
I could hear those calls come in for fires.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I remember that really well. So, Ninth and Main,
Yeah.
kind of back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, when you go ahead. Sorry.
Then the Farmers Mutual moved up to Tom's office, which was the old Trenton National Bank building.
Okay.
And they were in the front part of the office, and Tom was in the back part. He bought that building. And I think Rosemary, his daughter, gave it to the college after that.
Okay.
The college owns it now.
That's where their bookstore or their
No.
It's
That's the newer Trenton National Bank.
okay.
It's the one up on Main Street.
Okay.
You know where Joe's Cafe used to be?
No, I don't.
Well,
What else was
maybe
on?
Trenton Abstract, maybe next
Okay,
door.
okay. I know. So near Cisco Brown Drug Store, near where the old Cisco Brown.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
north of Cisco, next
Okay.
to the alley.
Okay. All right.
It's a good old building.
Yeah.
Real.
Oh, I know where you're talking about now.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
right.
because it still has
Yeah,
the bank.
yeah,
Yes, it has the engraving on the building still.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that, I don't think that, I remember that being a bank. I think the new National Bank
I
had,
bet it was too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so during your workday, did you go any place for lunch downtown or?
Yes, we usually went up to what was Joe's. Joe Collins
Okay.
had that restaurant. It would have just been up the street from the
Okay.
bank.
Is that the Joe Collins that used to have horses?
It
Okay.
Sure is.
Okay.
It sure is.
Well, what on Main Street? So we're talking about this would have been the early 60s then.
Yes. I started to work for Tom in 59.
Okay. What other restaurants were on Main Street during that era?
Well, was Shirley's across the street or was that later? Blue Moon. Blue Moon
Okay.
used to be, well, I'm trying to think. Oh, Blue Moon was, and Vern Smith run it.
Okay.
He was the black man,
Okay.
and he really ran a good restaurant. That was always a good place to eat. And Bell's Cafe on, that's quite a bit north, but
Uh-huh.
well, I can't think of any other restaurants downtown, but there's not that many now either.
Yeah. Was Fair's Drugstore there?
Fair's Drugstore. Excuse me.
And I know, did they have a little counter?
Yeah,
I
they
think-
did later. I don't know whether they had one right then or not. but,
Okay.
There was Fair's Drugstore and Cisco Brown Drugstore and Boyer's Drugstore
A lot of drugstores.
and Oh, clear up there across from where the college is now. It used to be Yater's had a drugstore.
Wow.
Yeah, there were. And Mark Cutrate later too. I'm trying to think. I think that's all the drugstores. But there were several drugstores.
Yeah. When you think about downtown Trenton, in that early 60s era, do you remember it as being a real busy place?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, there were. And Saturday used to be when all the farmers came to town too.
Uh-huh.
Country people come to town, and that's what I remember about Mary Donna and I. We would go to the movie on Saturday afternoon, and it's usually a cowboy, Roy Rogers or Gene Autry or Hopalong Cassidy. And then we'd go up to Cisco Brown Drugstore and get a butterscotch sundae.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people probably aren't aware of even where Cisco Brown Drugstore was at, and that was 9th and Main, the corner.
Yeah.
That building's painted like an aqua blue with stars on the side of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that used to be the Owl Pharmacy.
Oh, really?
Now, I don't remember that, but I've got a postcard, and it tells where it was.
Huh.
But I'd never heard of that one before.
Well, that's interesting. Do you remember what the price of a movie was when you were?
No, but I'm sure it wasn't over 10 or 15 cents,
Okay.
really.
That's
Because for us to go get an ice cream sundae afterwards, and I'm sure it wasn't much more than that. Maybe
Yeah.
20 cents, but
yeah. Yeah. I guess when you're making 75 cents an hour, that's, you've worked 30 minutes to an hour or whatever for that experience. Yeah. Well, what was next to the movie theater and the Plaza Hotel at that time? That was a hotel actually then, wasn't it? Residence
where's that?
at the Plaza Hotel next to the
It was
movie.
called the Trenton Hotel.
Oh, okay.
Now, that's where the plaza is now, though.
Okay.
But where were you?
That's what I was talking
Okay.
about. I was just curious if next door to the movie theater, if that was the Plaza Hotel then.
It was, I think I've got a postcard on that as the Trenton Hotel.
Okay.
And they tell who owned it, and it was, I'll have to
Yeah.
think of that one.
Yeah, that's good.
They moved to California. Seemed like it was Perry's, but I'm not sure on that.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of curious here. Before we kind of move along, I wanted to back up. How much do you remember about that era during World War II? Do you have any?
Well, my first memory was I had two brothers go to service the same day.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I think that was 1944, February. And of course, my mother and dad stood up real well, and Daddy continued to for her, but I'd see her crying.
Okay.
And I would have been, I guess, 11. And I can't say that I really realized what war was all about, at that age, but Leroy was 18, and Guy was, 34 or 35, I'm not sure. But they were all standing, and Guy and Leroy were standing next to each other. And they said every fifth one would go to the Marines.
Oh, wow.
Well, Leroy was picked as a Marine. Guy thought the Marines was too rough for his little brother, so he volunteers to go to the Marines.
Oh, wow.
They wasn't paying attention to him. And Leroy went to Marines and Guy went to the Navy. Well, Guy ended up seeing more battle than Leroy did, thankfully, but then he was on LSTs that took the equipment and the soldiers in for
Okay.
battle. And he wouldn't talk too much about it.
Okay.
And he came home on Christmas Eve,
Wow.
and I don't know, Leroy didn't get out till a little later. But it was because of the service part that the guy got out earlier, I think. So,
Yeah, that's, that's something that these days I don't think any of us can really understand is
no,
how that would feel if
no.
two of your brothers in that time
And
are.
I've got the article on the front page of Trenton paper of when they left, and it was the last day of February, and I believe 44,
Uh-huh.
because December 7th, no, it would have been 43, because it wasn't in February after the war started, I'm sure. I think it was 43.
Yeah. Wow.
So I would have just been 10, I guess.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But that is, I mean, I can't imagine being a parent and have two of them going the same day.
Yeah, no way. Yeah. I can't.
But
Yeah.
they didn't go, that was after, I think, or maybe, they didn't go the same place, which was good and bad. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
If something happened to one of them, maybe it wouldn't to both of them. But, and then I had a cousin that was in World War II, and he lived in the Veterans Hospital.
Okay.
He came home and was home a while and worked up at Moline and on the railroad, and was married and had a child. And then it really affected his mind.
Yeah.
Shell shocked.
Okay. Yeah. And that's, yeah, it's been called different things
Yeah.
along the way, but
Yeah.
PTSD. Yeah. Yeah.
But he was taken care of at the Veterans Hospital,
Uh-huh.
and he'd come home every so often, but it's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope they get that straightened up over there now.
Yeah.
I don't know why people have to hate so bad.
Yeah. That's well, so I'm just trying to think. We had kind of left off there with your working at the legal office.
Yeah, at Tom's office.
Yeah.
And that was a good experience. The first time I typed a deed, I didn't know the difference between a warranty deed, a corporation deed, a trust deed, or quitclaim deed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he explained it to me before I ever typed one.
Uh-huh.
And then we went to the atlas and the description. He said, now we're going to find where that piece of property is. And he showed me on the map and how, if it was farmland, it's in a section,
Okay.
and range, township.
Okay.
So I learned a lot from him. I really did. And I learned a lot when I went to Hardin Cummins Mawson Miller too.
Okay. Now, and was that in Chillicothe? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you made about what year did you go there then?
78.
Okay. And then after that, you moved back. How long were you there? And then you moved back to Trenton.
I was down there about 25 years.
Holy cow, so long time.
Yeah. And I was with Tom about 20 years.
Wow.
And then Farmers Mutual, well, I think it was 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So
When did you officially retire?
that's a
Well, you're
good
still
question.
not retired,
That's a good
but
question.
from working for someone else, what you?
Well, I moved back up here in 2003,
Mm-hmm.
but I was still, I dropped from 5 days to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was, I don't know whether it was 2004 or 5. I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
what it was.
Well, when did you get interested in history and genealogy, or was that always kind of there for you? Or
Well, no, now history wasn't. But genealogy was, my mother always referred to it as family history.
uh-huh.
And they were related to you. That was family history.
Uh-huh.
And you saying asking questions. I got so many questions to ask her. Fina Baker was was Dr. Oliver's bookkeeper. And I remember being up there to the doctor's office and Mom saying, she's some of our relation. Well, as a kid, so.
Uh-huh.
Well, I always remembered that though, and since I've gotten on to Ancestry, I found out how she was related,
Uh-huh.
and my mother was right. I think it was her grandmother, Fina's grandmother, and my great grandfather were brother and sister.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you found out that you're related to anyone else around here that's kind of surprised you?
No, not here.
Uh-huh.
But of course, on my mother's side, there would be more of a chance of being related
Mm-hmm.
because Daddy's grandfather was an only child. I guess he had stepbrothers or half brothers, I guess would be. But they're all in Ohio apparently.
Okay.
So, but there's no one. But I am related to Kit Carson.
Are you really? Okay, how is that?
That's my mother, and my mother had a dish. Her grandmother and Kit Carson they had the same father but different mothers. So they
Okay.
half brother and sister. But she had this dish that she said, now that's Kit Carson's sister's,
Mm-hmm.
which was her grandmother's.
Wow.
And my sister, older sister, when my mother passed away, she wanted her dishes to go to us three girls. So we put 1, 2, 3 in, and then we draw, and that's how we. And she, Florence Bell, drew the Kit Carson sisters' dish. Well, my niece has it now, and she said, "Would you like to have that back?" And I said, "No, it's yours."
Uh-huh. Now, is
So-
this the same sister that was tricking you into doing the pots and pans the next day?
The what?
Was this the same sister that was tricking you with the dishwashing?
No.
Okay.
No, that's the one that was next to me.
Okay.
This was Florence Bell, my
Okay.
oldest sister.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, so you worked up at the library, or you did a lot with genealogy up there.
Yes, I did. I used to go up there and keep the genealogy room. Gloria Carpenter did it before I did.
Okay.
And we kept the books put up and different things like that. And if we got bulletins or something, a file in. And then I got to the point I couldn't lift those books
Yeah.
and using a walker, and so and then I can't see now, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that makes it. I enjoyed doing that though.
Mm-hmm. Did you were responsible for digitizing a lot of stuff up there,
Well,
correct?
I'm the one that got it started,
Okay.
and the whole county helped in getting it done. But that was one thing that I asked Teresa when she first started working up there. I said, before I die, I'd like to see those newspapers digitalized.
Uh-huh.
So it's not complete because we can't complete it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was in hopes they'd get it through that one, through the Trenton Republican Times. It's live, but COVA kind of came in and they quit filming, and then it's just kind of bad now. So
Mm-hmm. Well, with regard to the family history that you've done, can you think of anything that's really shocked or surprised you?
well, I still haven't say proven it, but on my dad's mother's side, Proctor's side, it appeared we were related to George Washington. But I haven't proved it yet.
Okay. Interesting. Kit Carson and George Washington.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's just really amazing. Well, and the fact that you've got on and done a lot of work on Ancestry.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and you transitioned, it sounds like, into using technology
Yeah,
really well.
That was another thing on my jobs. I was using, of course, I had a manual typewriter at home, and I used a manual typewriter at work. And even when I started to work for Tom Mason, I had a manual. And Mr. Burton from Burton Typewriter came in, and he wanted to sell Tom an electric typewriter. He said, "Don't talk to me, talk to her."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Well, I'll try it." And so he brought in an electric typewriter. He said, I'll be back in a week. Well, he came back and he said, what do you think about it? And I said, I'm not sold on it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I would still go back to the manual.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm going to leave it 2 more weeks, and I guarantee you, you will be. And he came back in 2 weeks, and he was right.
Yeah.
It just took that much longer for me to really get a hang of it,
Uh-huh.
because you just barely touch those keys. That after pounding them,
Uh-huh.
and so that was a change for me.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, copy machines where you didn't have to. I used carbon paper there, like for court records. Well, then the copy machine came in, and then when I went to Chillicothe, they had what they called a display writer. Now, I've never heard much about the display writer, but it was between the electric typewriter and the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had one for a while. And of course there were several that wanted to use it,
Mm-hmm.
try it, Well, we all liked it. It was a magnetic card that it typed on, then you could go back and make corrections.
Oh, okay. Huh.
And then we got another one. So we had 2 in the office. And then they came to computers. And of course, that's the main thing now.
Yeah, so you kind of, because of work, you
Yeah.
eased into that. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Aren't you glad?
Beg your pardon?
Aren't you glad that you were able to do that?
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And it has been quite a span. Of course, it's been a long span. But to go from that big adding machine and to calculators now
Uh-huh.
and to computers, I mean, and manual typewriters to a computer, that's
Yeah, the amount of change you've seen
a lot.
I mean, yeah, well, and I'm wondering here, when you were growing up on a farm, did you guys have electricity and indoor plumbing?
We never did have indoor plumbing,
Okay.
but when I think it was 1940, we got electricity, Grundy Electric.
Okay.
And we got an electric refrigerator. Daddy brought an electric refrigerator and an electric stove.
Wow.
He always tried to get appliances to help my mother
Uh-huh.
with that. And he was working at co-op. Well, maybe he might have been, yeah, he would have been still working at co-op. And they had a co-op brand stove and refrigerator.
Oh my.
So that's what we had. The first
A co-op stove and
Yeah.
I've never heard of. Huh,
that was back then.
yeah. So the plumbing, you didn't
No.
when did plumbing?
We never had plumbing.
Well, yeah, and I think that's
Yeah, that's another
anyone who
thing.
lived in the country probably didn't,
No,
correct?
No.
Yeah.
And we didn't when we lived in Tyndall.
Wow.
I think they do now in that house, but no, it's just that's a big plus too.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty amazing. Do you remember what the first car was that your family had, or maybe that you drove?
Well, first car I drove was an Oldsmobile. Of course, it was my dad's, and he liked Buicks,
Uh-huh.
and I don't remember him ever having a new brand new car.
Uh-huh.
It was always second hand.
Yeah.
But and I never did have a new car. I've always had second hand cars.
Well, and I'm guessing it was probably something that you shifted on the floor, right?
Well, that Buick, I mean that Oldsmobile was an automatic.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was. Of course, that would have been probably 50. 52, 3, 4, long in there.
Uh-huh.
Now, I had in 65, I bought a Mustang,
Oh, you did.
and that was had a gear shift
Okay.
clutch, what I'm trying to say. And I'd never driven one before.
Oh, okay.
They said, "Oh, you can do it." I love that little car.
Well, and that's definitely a collector's item now.
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah,
But I
'cause-
don't have it.
Oh no, somebody else is sitting
Yeah.
and smiling with it. Hopefully they are.
And I had to put one clutch in, but I soon learned it anyway. Yeah.
Wow. So did you, when it came to things like working on your car, did you always take it to someone else, or did
Yeah.
you did?
No, I have no ability whatsoever. Mechanics.
Okay.
No.
But you had the ability to know when you needed to take it in. That's important.
That's right.
Yeah.
And when my niece and little boy, her little boy, was 18 months old, they moved down here from Illinois, moved in with me. And he would sit on that little console in the back seat.
Okay.
And he'd, "Hang on, Sloopy."
Oh, jeez. That's funny. Oh, my. Yeah. Those are 65 Mustangs. I know exactly what they look like. Really neat.
Yeah,
You were driving a sporty car.
Yeah, I was, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wanted to be sure and ask, we had talked about this earlier, but interesting characters along the way. People maybe that you remember just in your days in Trenton, earlier days in Trenton, that you think of fondly, or that when you think of them, they make you smile or laugh. Yeah.
Clifton Taylor's one.
Oh, okay.
Clifton used to come by when I worked at Farmers Mutual and wanted to know if we needed any help.
Okay.
He was always, and I can't think of that fellow that was trading knives. I gotta work on that.
Yeah.
He was always wanting to trade knives with everyone. And my brother and his son was down here, and Larry always remembered that.
Yeah. Well, who are some of the people that you feel like kind of really helped you along the way as you were growing up and, moving
Well,
into adulthood? And
of course, my Aunt Rose and Uncle Guy were second parents to most of our family, especially Noel Fay and I, because they took us when Mom and Lawrence had the typhoid fever. Took us home with them, and I really don't know how long we were there.
okay.
But of course, I was a year and a half. Noel Fay would have been about 5.
Mm-hmm.
But they said that Uncle Guy danced me to sleep every night.
That your uncle what?
Danced me to sleep every night.
Well,
And different things that they, but over the years, they've always been very close. And Aunt Rose lived with me for 3 years too. That was over on Monroe Street.
okay.
And then my Aunt Gertie was Daddy's sister, was always encouraging to do better, learn more.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she was always that way.
Yeah.
And Rose Hoover was a very good example of doing the right thing. And
Mm-hmm.
Rose was special.
Yeah. Now, Rose Hoover, and I definitely know the name, she was real involved in genealogy, is that right? Or
Well, she did. She didn't do genealogy like we did. I mean, she's more like my mother. It's what she already knew,
okay.
you know. But Rose was just interested in the community. And then she established this foundation, the Bert Rose Hoover Foundation,
Okay.
for the county, really. And it's done a tremendous amount of good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was with her a lot after she found out she had cancer. And I took her to Kansas City to the doctors and all.
Yeah.
And I can still hear her saying, I just want the A team.
Oh, yeah.
And she tried her best too, I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe one last question here. I'm just, and I'm sure that this is kind of a typical question that people get asked when they're into their 70s, 80s, and 90s. But, I guess what have you learned along the way, in terms of maybe what's most important in life? And, or maybe an important lesson that really stands out to you.
Well, your friends and family are the most important as far as that's concerned. I remember something that has always stayed with me working for Tom. And a family came in. The father was wanting to fix his final will, and he had it in his mind what he wanted. And then the kind of disagreement came up, and I remember an in-law said, I'd rather see a sermon lived than to hear a sermon preached. In other words, she'd rather see him live that life rather than just say they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that, to me, is right.
Yeah.
I'd rather see a sermon lived than to hear a sermon preached, too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's a very, very good thing to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you very, very much. This has been really fun. Just getting to